this baby.
The accessible 12-string.
Yeah, well, it's been our number one selling 12-string for a long time. So to see this as a builder's edition this year was like, yes, it's even easier. How, on the 524C, it's like, how could they make this guitar this easy to play? And the question would be like, man, could anybody ever make one easier to play? And then you go ahead and whip this thing out. It's great.
I'll say it was a little harder than whipping it out. It's been in progress for quite a while now.
Yeah, has it? Yeah.
The V-Class idea in particular was really interesting when we add 12 strings to it, because that felt like a big step into a different world. Okay? Most 12-string guitars, we know it's hard to make them play in tune. Okay? You tune them, you play it, and it's drifted. Why is that the case? Okay, well, a lot of times it's because of the resonant factors that are at play in the instrument itself. Like when you have two strings that are unison, they don't actually want to occupy the same resonant frequency. So you might tune one, let's say you tune an A440 to make it easy. You might get it there, and then you start to bring this other one next to it, and if it started as a little high, as you approach that unison frequency, it starts to make the first one drift, because they're like poles of a magnet. They don't want to occupy exactly the same spot. It's really hard to make that happen. And so when you do that and combine in resonant chambers or this vibrating body's own influence into that mix, it's so hard. So you get it close, but it feels like you're chasing it continuously. So with the V-Class idea, because it brings a very uniform type of response to every frequency, it starts to help overcome that. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But it does bring it up another notch where you can make this thing play really well in tune. To the degree that you kind of stop hearing it as two notes and start to hear it as one frequency. It's a little different. It doesn't have as much of that chorusy, shimmery thing. And certainly you could finesse it in if you want it.
A tad bit.
But when I hear this guitar, you can actually play things that I might not have played before and find that they actually work. They will work in the context of a song.
I don't know how you get anything done in a day. I just imagine people stopping by and saying, Andy, could you play this one for me? I really want to hear what this one sounds like. Yeah, sit here and listen to you for hours.
Oh, thank you. That's kind of you to say. I like playing a lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. When you were back up, when you were hitting that note, saying, well, you can't really tell. I thought you were hitting one, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
It is very...
It's a different experience.
Exact.
And so in this case, we've started to even adapt some of the almost electric guitar-like aspects. You've got the armrest, you have the amazing contour cutaway, that beveled cutaway, the chamfered off edges and whatnot. But we've adopted the electric guitar style reverse stringing. So when you strike the note on a downstroke, you're hitting the fundamental first. So it has more of that classic electric 12-string sort of feel and response, rather than the jangle, like if I played upstrokes only. You hear more of the classic 12-string voicing, but if I were to play that kind of thing, it starts to become a little more musically useful for a wider variety of contexts.
Good to hear. You also, I'm sure many people have talked about it, but this is a significant change
Yeah, 12 strings with 6 bridge pins. Partly it was forced by the V-Class idea because I didn't want that many holes right in the front of my guitar. I mean, a 12-string guitar turns the middle of the soundboard into Swiss cheese. A lot of holes to drill in the top of a guitar, right? And in this case, I really did not want to do that. And at the same time, I'm trying to solve this issue where I want a more consistent break angle over the saddle. So that's what led us back to this idea, which is not a totally new idea. There's a lot of double course instruments that share a common anchoring. A lot of mandolins used to be done that way. You'd have like 8-string ukuleles. There's a lot of ethnic, what we would call ethnic instruments that use a double course with a common anchoring. And so that was something that we thought, this is actually going to work very well for a 12-string guitar, to use a single anchoring point and treat the strings more like they were a single unit. So this way we get a real consistent break angle over the saddle. The pickup works even better than it used to. The voice of the guitar is a lot more uniform. It just solves a bunch of problems for us. And in my opinion, it's easier to restring. So it's like, oh, yeah, I guess we should have done that a while ago. Had we thought about it then, we probably would have.
What happens when you're always building?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you run into those things, and the building is what leads to the process of the inventing.
Yeah. Yeah, to circle back around. So voicing-wise, we've talked about structural. When you play this specific, your edition, if you will, your edition of this, like you deciding to make it maple, not, again, the 524
Well, the mahogany one's really pretty. I like that guitar a lot. It is voiced more distinctly as a mahogany guitar. This one, I wanted a little more boldness out of it, almost like it's deliberately blending an electric guitar-like voicing into an acoustic space. So yeah, certainly it's an acoustic guitar. But if you were to plug this into an electric guitar amp, it actually works really well.
Really?
Yeah, and the type of sound that's coming out of this guitar, you're not hearing it quite as clearly as an acoustic as in, well, it's a guitar sound.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a different sort of voicing. It's a little bit more electric guitar-like to my ears. The type of sustain, the volume, the uniformity of balance. It's kind of the way I would expect an electric 12-string guitar to work.
Okay. Well, that was the 500 series, being as easy to play and the warmth, and a lot of people just love how that sound. And when you play this one, it is a fantastic experience. And so, yeah, I just had to ask.
Yeah, they're just different. They're different flavors.
Since it is the Builder's Edition, and the heavier string at the bottom, just the whole thing, it is really an entirely different 12-string experience. And even if you owned a 12-string, to me, it's like, this is
you got to check it out.
This is a different, really awesome 12-string.
Yeah.
We're excited.
I mean, it seems like it would be subtle changes, right? It feels like if you were to read over a list of specifications, it's like subtleties. It's splitting hairs. But the experience as a player is not subtle. It's not a subtle difference. It is a big difference. The way you approach it, the way you hold chords, the way you articulate the strings, that changes significantly.
Truth be told, that's been my experience with all of them that have been released since the V-Class. And if you haven't been in the store and tried them and gone through it, the more you do, and even if you did the first time and maybe you didn't get it explained to you and you're like, I just don't get it, I think this is just a load of malarkey, come back, because the more I play them for the last X amount, you start hearing things differently, experiencing things differently, just like if all you ever ate was a McDonald's cheeseburger. And then when somebody made you a real burger, you didn't get it the first time, right? But if you have enough of those and then you go back, it's like, I was eating that?
I mean, again, to come back around to where we began, these guitars are for playing songs. They're meant to contribute to a person's music-making endeavor. So I want there to be colors, unique feels, unique voices for them to draw their songs out of. That's the point behind making all these things. It's not just a SKU, it's not just a new product release. It's an instrument that's made for contributing to a person's music making life. You know, we want to be part of their art making process.
Yeah, you definitely, in this class of guitars, you hear it a lot differently. I do not have a great ear, and you certainly don't want to hear me sing. And the more I play them, the more I find I'm addicted to this specific sound, right? I'm addicted to this clarity of, you know, of playing a GA or the GC and listening to it. So it's I would just encourage you, if you haven't played one, come on in. We'll have these middle of March, these should start rolling in. And Andy, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day
Oh, it's my pleasure.
to have a conversation about it.
Always fun to see you guys.
It's great being here, and so thanks for watching, and come on in shortly. Middle of March, we'll have these things, and check them out for yourself. See what you think.